And good evening, everybody, and welcome here as we get ready for knockout qualifying for our second elimination race of the chase race number 6. We are here at Joltis getting ready for some racing here, and I will be coming right back to our first car on track in just a moment. And we are back. Apologize for that brief break. I had to take a dog outside, but anyway, as we are back, we're looking at Dillon Poteet, who right now is actually in one of those danger zones as far as the chase goes. He needs a good run here this week, or at least a win would definitely help him to move into the next round, but he needs a lot of drivers ahead of him in the chase points to have a poor showing this week. He was really strong in the first round of the chase, made it into the next round with absolutely no problems, but this round has been very difficult for the 31 team. And I hit the wrong camera button. There we go. Looking now at rookie John Gilbert in the 108. These drivers are going to have to make quick work of getting around the racetrack too. They've only got 5 minutes, and this is a pretty big super speedway. Carson Scott in the 38. Another driver like Dillon Poteet, who right now is situated in the danger zone. Dillon Young in the 2 car was close to victory lane at Armory Digital a couple of weeks ago. Austin Mongold there in the 95. Shaun Gallighan, our winner from a couple of weeks ago at Armory Digital. Right behind him, these two might be able to work together, put down some kind of lap times. Couple of go-or-go homers. That's Garrett Sidner in the 88. Cat Tellier in the 35. It's hard to believe it's been about a week since I've actually done a Hersheys Cup Series recording. Cody Llamas. And Benjamin Miles in the 25. 3-time winner this season, Benjamin. His most recent win coming at the regular season finale of M&M Super Speedway. Brandon Gonzalez and Aaron Henderson. They're side by side. They got to get nose to tail if they're going to have any hope of a good draft. Joshua Ciculli there in the 47. There's Zachary Fitzwater. Another chaser, hoping to move on to the next round. We'll bring up the ticker as I think a couple of drivers have actually turned actual laps, and yes indeed they have. There's the Avengers Ford of Levi McIntire. Ryan Madden in the 8. Anthony McCrury, the defending champion. We'll have to see if he's going to move on to the next round and defend his title. James Qualls there. Trent Dunham in the 1. There's another chaser in Jessica Shelton, who's at the moment in a good position to move on to the next round of the chase. But this is Joltis. Anything can happen. Elijah Gordon, Stephanie Gardner, and there is Kyle Mathews in the 09, another driver who at the moment is not in the danger zone, is in the top 8 in the points, but much like Shelton, needs to make sure that he survives Joltis. Got a 3-way draft right here. Matthew Daleo, Keith Batson, and Seth Cole. And Matthew Daleo right now is the top of the leaderboard. Seth Cole is 4th, and John Gilbert just jumped up to 2nd. Right now, it would be Daleo, Gilbert, Fitzwater, Srigley, Cole, Ciculli, Mongold, Qualls, Balvin, and Dillon Young. That's your top 10 at the moment. So let's jump back. Actually, jump up here. There is Matthew Daleo. Let's look back a little further. There's Jake Baskinger. Right now, he's 30th fastest on the charts. And then we cycle back to Dillon Poteet, who we started it with. So it looks like Matthew Daleo, the fastest in this session with a 105.237. John Gilbert looks like he's going to make it in the next round, along with Fitzwater, Srigley, Mongold, Qualls, and Ciculli. They're definitely locked in. Keith Batson now just got himself locked into the next round. He jumped up to 3rd fastest. And with about 20 seconds remaining, Dillon Young is currently in the bubble spot. Jessica Shelton right now in 11th, so she would move on to the next round as things stand. That's one thing that she and that team have done well, is they've made sure that they get good enough lap times in qualifying to make it up towards the front of the field for the start of the race, but she just got knocked down to 13th place, though. I don't know if she's going to have enough time to get around and make another lap or not. Racing right now side by side with Trent Dunham, and at the moment about 6/100ths out of the 12th position. 14 seconds on the clock, and I don't think she's going to get back around to get a lap time in. So it looks like right now, as things stand, the only chaser from this group that's moving on to the next round is going to be the 76 of Zachary Fitzwater, and Shelton just crosses with 1 second remaining, but it did not count her lap time. And so it's only going to be Fitzwater from this group that's going to be making it into the next round of the chase. Or not the chase, but of the qualifying. It's Mathews, Daleo, Austin, Mongold. What a showing right there for Srigley Motorsports. First, second, and sixth for 3 of those rides. Then you got Seth Cole. He'll make it in as well. Keith Batson, John Gilbert, Zachary Fitzwater, Dillon Young, Leon Alvarise, James Qualls, Joshua Ciculli, and Ryan Madden will get the final transfer spot in the next round of qualifying. As far as the chasers, Jessica Shelton was 13th fastest. Anthony McCrury, 19th fastest. Kyle Mathews, 20th. Dillon Poteet, 21st. And then Benjamin Miles was 25th fastest. Carson Scott was 28th fastest. And Jake Baskinger was all the way down in 35th fastest for the chasers in this group. So there's your 12 drivers that will move on to the next round. Of those 12, 6 of them are go or go home drivers. So if more than one driver transfers into the next round from the next round of qualifying, the next heat, then we will be having drivers make it into round 2, possibly into round 3, and still be going home. So stay tuned. We will have continuation of coverage of knockout qualifying here from Joltis in just a moment. All right, then, as we get ready for our second heat race of the first round of qualifying, one thing that's going to be in place for next season, as far as qualifying goes, we will be having a session very much like this for the season opener at Daytona, but for the remainder of the races, the knockout qualifying session will only take place amongst drivers that are outside the top 30 in the point standings or do not have a charter, that is, to try and get into the race. So that's going to be a new thing. We will not be having everybody on track. Charles Sandfer, one of the few chasers out first here, along with the 55 of our race winner Holden Gluba, back from Taylor Swift Superdome. I said it, Levi. Deal with it. Nathan Hudson, last week's winner at Lime Rock, also out on track very quickly here. Hudson picking up his first career win at the road course in Connecticut last week. And what was pretty much a dominating performance. Jason Haywood there in the 72. His teammate Keith Batson made it into the next round of qualifying, so Haywood going to try and do the same. Joshua Michaels in the 10 car. It's been a long winless streak for that team. Haven't been to victory lane since Pocono of last year. Noah Carr is trying to make the race. Redline Racing been having a pretty struggling season this year, but word has it they will be coming back next year. Emmanuel Hartnett in the 97, Rocco Twyman in the 19, Johnny Gardner in the 27. It'll be interesting to see how the 97 of Hartnett does here in this session, because all 3 of his teammates moved on to the next round of qualifying from Heat 1. Srigley, Mongold, and Daleo. Dallas McIntosh there, and Johnny Gardner got a nice draft off the back of him. Easily puts a slingshot move on 16 Cheez-It Ford of McIntosh. There is rookie Davey Johnson in the 46. His teammate Joshua Ciculli made it in the next round of qualifying from Heat 1. Cole Baker, the current Rookie of the Year leader in the points. Big thing that's really helped him out is that Cat Tellier didn't get her charter until midway through the season, and Kyle Keith has been having difficulty making races in the past few weeks. So it's just allowed him to open up his points lead for Rookie of the Year honors. There's another rookie there, Dougie Shears in the 21. This team has seemed to taper off a little bit in the past few weeks. I remember back at the beginning of the season, this team was making races every single week. Of course, remember back to the second race of the season, Rockingham United Kingdom, when he was leading, had the engine blow up on him and had to turn the lead and the eventual win over to his teammate Zachary Fitzwater. Chris Dodd in the 08, maybe one of the strongest chasers this season so far. Pretty close would be Benjamin Miles, but Chris Dodd, a two-time winner this year. And he has been really strong. He's been one of the top three best finishing chasers just about every single week in this chase for the championship. And right now, he is top of the leaderboard in speed, 105.695, as he works his way around the outside of Tim Walsh in the Kellogg Chevrolet. Another chaser in James Richardson, who is a driver that is in the danger zone right now. Driver of the 11 car. This is his first chase for the championship, and hoping and praying he can have some luck here this week at Zen Joltis to get him back into the top 8 in the point standings. A win would also get him into the next round of the chase. There's his teammate, Marty Johnson, in the 20. Marty Johnson, right now 31st fastest on the charts, but it seems like whenever he makes a race, he's always fast. Daniel Olson, right now 30th fastest in the 52 car. Pichu London, the 29. I have fixed on the starting lineups the fact that he is not a rookie, but it does show him as a rookie here in the running order and in the points, because if I change the name, it will mess up the point standings. So, but he is not a rookie. Keep that in mind. John Cittadino right now running behind the 15 of William Brock. See if these two can put down some kind of a good lap time to get themselves up into the top 12. And Cittadino jumps up to 16th. Brock up to 13th. They're just on the outside looking in. JT Bryant there. There's Grayson Acevedo in the 66. Another chaser. Acevedo right now 17th fastest. He currently would not be into the next round of qualifying. John Arndt there in the 24. Kyle Keith right now holds the bubble spot in 12th. Sandfer is 15th. He's on the outside looking in. And there's the car I was looking for, Michael Norman. He's up to second fastest right now, along with that other car right there, Marie Minobi in the 93. She's third fastest. Then it's Hartnett, Michaels, John Andrews, Tim Walsh, Holden Gluba, Pichu London, Johnny Gardner. Then Noah Cars, and right now Tripantacchio Vernio holds the final and 12th transfer spot. Look at Michael Norman, a well-versed super speedway racer. He knows what to do with his race car when you come to these type of tracks. You saw right there, he actually kind of drifted up in the corner. That allowed him to get some air there to the engine of his machine. And wow, the session's over already. So Chris Dodd,
drivers to your
man,
cars.
That team is hot, 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 as he will get the fastest speed here in this heat by over 5/10 over Michael Norman. They'll both move on to the next round, along with Marie Minobi, Emmanuel Hartnett, Joshua Michaels, John Andrews, Tim Walsh, Holden Gluba, Pichu London, Johnny Gardner, Noah Cars, and Tripataki Vernio will get the final transfer spot in the next round of qualifying. Now, as I said, only one go-or-go-homer needed to make his way in this heat for all 6 of the drivers that made in the top 12 from Heat 1 to be locked into the race, but that is not the case. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 go-or-go-home drivers making their way into the next round of qualifying from this heat. So that means that a total of 6 drivers will be going home regardless of moving on to the next round of qualifying here this week, which means that officially out of the race are not going to be making the race will be the cars of Kyle Keith, John Cittadino, Jason Haywood, Joe Rockingham, James McLeod, Daniel Olson, as well as Dougie Shears, Rocco Twyman, Davey Johnson, and Marty Johnson. As far as the chasers, there was only one. Again, like last time, it was only Zachary Fitzwater who moved on to the next round from Heat 1. Well, only one chaser's moving on to the next round of qualifying from this round, and that is Chris Dodd. The other chasers, Charles Sandfer, 16th fastest in this session. Grayson Acevedo, 19th fastest. James Richardson was 24th fastest on the charts. And I believe that was it for actually the chasers in this group. So that's going to do it here for round 1. Let's head now for round 2. 24 drivers going to be battling for 12 spots in the final round of qualifying. And 13 go-or-go-homers going to be battling for 7 spots in this week's starting grid. Welcome back here to knockout qualifying from Joltis. We're getting ready for round 2, but I do want to clear up a quick discrepancy that I may have caused earlier. I said that James Richardson was in the danger zone. That is incorrect. As a matter of fact, James Richardson is running very well in the point stands. He is third in the chase points coming into this race. However, the 4 drivers, I took the opportunity to look and see who the 4 drivers were that were in the danger zone coming into this race, and they were Charles Sandfer, Carson Scott, Dillon Poteet, and I just forgot the other one. Can't believe I did that. I've just forgotten who the other one was. Well, we're looking at Chris Dodd, and it's gonna drive me nuts. Hang on, we'll have a quick jump. All right, we are back. Chris Dodd is on the clock now, and the 4 drivers that are currently situated in the danger zone that we'll have to be keeping tabs on during the course of this week's event will be the 3 that I mentioned: Dillon Poteet, Charles Sandfer, Carson Scott, and Jake Baskinger is the 4th driver I couldn't think of. So Chris Dodd ended up starting on the pole last week at Lime Rock, but Nathan Hudson got around him early and just dominated the race. And a lot of people were looking at Chris Dodd to maybe win that race and move on to the next round of the chase automatically, since back at Mid-Ohio he had qualified on the pole position and dominated every single lap of that race and won it. And then the following week he ended up winning his 2nd straight race of the season at Kentucky. But Chris Dodd was not able to close the deal last week at Lime Rock, but he currently is atop the point standings in the chase standings. So, you know, he didn't get the win to automatically move himself into the next round, but his finish more than likely good enough to have him in the point stands where he needs to be, that he may not actually be eligible to fall outside of the top 8 in the point standings after this week at Joltis, even if he finishes behind the wall in the garage area. But he does not want to do that. Only 2 chasers moving on to this 2nd round of qualifying. We're looking at Chris Dodd and then another 2-time winner this season in Zachary Fitzwater moving into this next round of qualifying. All other 10 chasers will be starting this race somewhere outside of the top 15 at least. Of course, this is a super speedway, so it's not exactly as much about where you start, it's where you finish, but you got to also keep in mind this is Joltis. And Joltis is very well known for 3 and 4 and sometimes 5 wide racing, and if things get a little crazy up at the front and a big wreck happens, if you've been qualified mid-pack towards the rear of the field, there's no guarantee you're going to get through that wreck without some kind of damage. And Chris Dodd right now is 2nd fastest on the charts to the 8 of Ryan Madden. Let's check and see if the other chaser, Zachary Fitzwater, if he's gotten out on track yet. Yes, he has. Apparently he is on the clock because he has not yet laid down a lap time. We'll have to see if he'll be able to lay down a lap good enough to move on to the final and 3rd round of qualifying. As right now it is Madden, Srigley, Dodd, Qualls, and Leon Alvarise. That's the top 5 right now in speeds, and that just changed. James Qualls up to 2nd, Tim Walch up to 3rd, and Dillon Young jumped up to 5th. And 21st fastest, a 107.661 for Zachary Fitzwater. Noah Kars has jumped up into the top 10. Pichu London's up into the top 10 along with Joshua Michaels. Let's find that U.S. Army Chevrolet of Ryan Madden. There he is. Right now, he is the fastest on track with a 105.373. Somebody else just jumped up in there. Who was that? I don't know if anybody jumped up in, but somebody laid down a good lap time, apparently, and dropped a couple people down some spots. Keith Batson just jumped up to 10th. And I would watch for maybe Joseph Srigley to get a pretty good lap time here. 105.784 his last lap, and this time, nope, no better. Thought maybe being in the draft of Ryan Madden might help his lap time. He was about a 100th off his fastest lap. Johnny Gardner right now, 20th fastest. That's not good for him to move on to the next round of qualifying. And, okay, apparently I put the 52 of Seth Cole in there. I don't know why. He's 14th fastest right now. I thought I put the 80 car in. Must have misclicked. James Qualls right now, second fastest. This is good for him, as well as Noah Carr's Pichu London, because right now they'd be the top 3 go-or-go-homers in speed right now, so they would more than likely lock themselves up a spot in this week's starting grid. Keith Batson just jumped up in there, so now he would be the 3rd fastest of the go-or-go-homers. Then it would be Pichu London. Then it would be Mongold, Olsen, and I think Marie Minobi. Oh no, I'm sorry, Andrews, Mongold, and then Olsen would be the last driver to transfer at this current point in time. Still 15 seconds to go here. Is right now John Andrews also on the bubble spot for moving on to the next round. He is 12th right now over Matthew Daleo and Austin Mongold. A couple of teammates there out of Srigley Motorsports. And the session is complete. Session is over. And I just realized I put in the 52 of Seth Cole, but I also put in the 80 of Seth Cole. So I think I had to put in... did I miss anybody? There's 24 drivers. I don't know what I did. I did something wrong. But anyway, ignore the Seth Cole 52 because that is incorrect. That is not supposed to be there. So it'll be Ryan Madden, James Qualls, Tim Walsh, Joseph Srigley, Dillon Young, Noah Carsley, and Alvarise, Chris Dodd, Keith Batson, Pichu London, Joshua Michaels, and John Andrews that will battle for the pole position here this week at Joltis. And for the drivers that will be transferring into the race, the top 7 in speeds, James Qualls will be in, Noah Cars will be in, Keith Batson and Pichu London both in, John Andrews is in, so too is Austin Mongold and Matthew Daleo. So that means that Marie Minobi, Tripentacchio Vernio, Seth Cole, Johnny Gardner, John Gilbert will fail to make the race. And there is a driver that I guess I clicked accidentally Seth Cole instead of that other driver. Let me look and see who that is, because there's another driver that I think was a go-or-go-home driver that I might have not put in this field, and I accidentally put the 52 Seth Cole in. So hang on one second. Yeah, and apparently the car that I was supposed to click rather than the 52 was the 55 of Holden Gluba. So we're just going to count it as if the 52 was the 55 of Holden Gluba, but still wouldn't have been good enough for Gluba to make it into the race either. So Gluba would have missed out on the race as well. So Qualls, Cars, Batson, London, Andrews, Daleo, and Mongold. Those are the 7 that will transfer into the main event race. And from John Andrews up to Ryan Madden, those are the drivers that will battle for the pole position. You see Zachary Fitzwater, 24th fastest here. So the only chaser that has an opportunity to start on the pole for this one, Chris Dodd. That team, their qualifying efforts been absolutely amazing the last couple of weeks, and I think that could be a big key factor into them being a big contender of being in the Final Four at the season finale for the championship. But nonetheless, though, it's time to get ready for our final round of qualifying. Let's see who's going to get the pole here this week at Joltis. So 5 minutes on the clock, 12 drivers going to try and start on the pole this week at Joltis. Only one chaser moves on to this final round of qualifying, the 08 of Chris Dodd. And we could maybe see a first-time pole sitter this season here as well, because there's a lot of candidates. John Andrews already down and away, and it looks like he'll be the first car out. It'll be interesting to see if anybody comes off pit road together here. With only 12 cars, they could get themselves very well spaced out, and it could just come down to who has the fastest single car speed. But I'm certain somebody's going to try and get some advantage, get out just enough to be able to get a little whiff of draft off the back of somebody to try and get the pole position for this race. John Andrews, who was in the hunt for the win several weeks ago at Salem. Maybe this week will be his week to get his first career win. We had a first-time winner last week at Lime Rock in the form of Nathan Hudson. And as I usually say, super speedways, tracks of this type, always seem to cater to the underdog. So it's a big opportunity for a rookie to be able to make something happen. Case in point, go back to, what was it? M&M Super Speedway, when Tripantakio Vernio dominated that race in his first start and took his first checkered flag. John Andrews is on the clock in the 17. We'll be jumping back behind him to see what lap times others will lay down compared to his Sunny D Ford Fusion. Down the back straightaway into, I believe this would be turn 3. Then Joltis is a quad super speedway, basically. And now coming down, he may get a little bit of draft off Keith Batson. We'll see. 107.126 for John Andrews. Next car to lay down lap time, I believe, would be the 9 of Leon Alvarise. The only car from Bulldog Motorsports to make it into this round, and 106.881 put him top of the leaderboard. Pichu London, 107.019. James Qualls, 107.365. That's good enough for fourth place at the moment. Srigley with a 108. 106 there for Chris Dodd. He's up to second behind Leon Alvarise. I'd say they're going to be able to get maybe 2 laps in. For Ryan Madden, it's questionable if he'll be able to get 2 laps in, as he's just now on the clock. Looking at Joshua Michaels. Dillon Young could have a really good lap time here. Michaels is now on the clock, and Dillon Young, 106.847, put him top of the leaderboard. Noah Cars, 107.670. He's up to 7th. Here comes Keith Batson, along with John Andrews and Tim Walsh. Andrews, top of the leaderboard, 106.804. Batson, a 107.748. That's 8th fastest for him, as Tim Walsh is now on the clock. And if he can stay behind these two, he could have himself a pole-sitting lap. Look at this, 106.803 for Leon Alvarise, and Ryan Madden, Pichu London, they just jumped up to first and second. London on the pole right now, the 106.040. Madden with a 106.749. Someone else just beat that. Yes, he did. Chris Dodd, 106.387. Srigley's up to 10th. Dillon Young, Joshua Michaels. Let's see if either of these guys have anything to say about the pole position. Michaels could get a good lap time here, running in the draft of Dillon Young, as Young jumps up to 3rd. Michaels jumps up to 7th, but Pichu London right now has the lap time to beat. And look at Tim Walsh. If Walsh can stay in the draft, no, Walsh, you got to stay in the draft. I thought he'd have a shot for the pole. Is he going to? 106.357. That's good enough for second place. And there is Pichu London, who may be the pole sitter this week. Leon Alvarise jumped up to 7th. London did not beat his lap time. Madden did not beat his lap time. James Qualls, right now 10th fastest. He beat his lap. Did he jump up in the standings at all? Nope, still 10th. Chris Dodd did not beat his lap time. Srigley beat his, though. He's up to 8th. Dillon Young, Joshua Michaels, they may have enough time to get around and do something here. Dillon Young right now 6th, or make that 5th fastest. Joshua Michaels 10th fastest. They'll have time to get to the stripe. Dillon Young did not beat his lap time. Michaels did his. He's up to 6th. Oh, these guys are going to have a shot. These guys are going to have a shot as we're looking at Noah Cars coming to the line. He beat his lap time, but I don't think he moved up in the standings. Does anybody have a shot for the pole of this group? Andrews up to 4th. Walch still in 2nd, did not beat his lap time, and Keith Batson jumped up to 7th. I think that's going to be all she wrote. I think Pichu London is going to be starting on the pole for the first time in his the first time this season. I can't say the first time in his career. He may have had a pole last year. Then it will be Tim Walsh, Chris Dodd, John Andrews, and Dillon Young would be the top 5. Followed by Joshua Michaels, Keith Batson, Ryan Manley and Alvarise, and Joseph Srigley as the top 10. James Qualls and Noah Cars would make up row 6. I'm pretty sure times are no longer being counted. They are not. The session is complete, and Pichu London will be starting on the pole position for this week's race at Joltis over Tim Walsh. We gave you on down through the top 6 rows there. So congratulations to Pichu London. And let me just quickly see if this is his first pole of his career. And I look back, and in Season 1, the poles column has a 0 in it. And now, his poles column this year has a 1 in it. Pichu London captures his first career Hersheys Cup Series pole here this week at Joltis. Tremendous lap time there, 106.039. That was 0.3 faster than anybody else. And keep in mind, Tim Walsh and Chris Dodd and Keith Batson, they were all in a really tight 3-car draft as well. So Pichu London showing off speed late here, and it's going to get him a pole position. Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in to today's knockout qualifying session. Next up on this channel, it's the second elimination race of the chase. 4 more drivers will be out. We'll be left with our Elite 8 to battle for 3 races, and then the final 4 at the regular season, or at the season finale, that is, at Auto Club Speedway. Right now, the Danger Zone drivers, Dillon Poteet, Jake Baskinger, Carson Scott, Charles Sandfer. Will they be the drivers still in the Danger Zone when the checker flag waves here at Joltis? Only time will tell. We'll see you guys next time, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.